Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. We're back. I'm Leon. And
I'm Johnny.
Also Johnny. Yeah. Are we doing a thing?
I don't
Austin,
know.
you...
It sounded like we were doing a thing because usually,
Austin, you now have to say
usually
it.
you're so sedate.
I'm not doing a thing.
Fine. Austin is also here.
Am I, though?
I'm pointing in his vague direction.
I mean,
South?
like here in the... Yeah.
Well, southeast from where I am.
I guess. All right. So how are you guys feeling this week? That's my opener. That's my opener to just casually talk about ourselves instead of like bring the noise.
I had a butt week, Leon. I had a butt week.
Sorry about your butt or your week.
No, I mean my butt's great. My week was not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so long as your butt's great.
Oh, always. I keep a very very great butt.
All right, we're a minute in. Do you guys want to say something funny or?
Austin, how are you feeling? What's up with you, man?
I'm great after a week of being excluded from my podcasting rights, my chair in the podcasting university where I hold court because as a preeminent podcaster, I expect to have a new episode every week, and I didn't, and I'm gonna have to take it up with your manager.
Okay, well, deal with it, I guess. Sorry, it was unacceptable. And considering how like low my standards are, like I will post like anything when it's just us talking. Like,
Have you ever talked so bad that your friend threw it in the garbage?
I'm sorry, but for reasons I don't even want to get into, at all. I couldn't.
It was monkey shines last week. It was shenanigans.
It made me uncomfortable listening to it, and I didn't feel like continuing. Basically, that's more or less it. I don't want to explain more than that because it'll just sound bad. So the long and short of it is, we're better than this, we'll just go. There's never been a time like we've done this for over 200 episodes, and we did BT podcast like a bunch as well. And there have been lost episodes, but it's always due to technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
I've never said no.
And that's amazing because we've talked about some whack shit.
Yeah.
I agree. So you could, with
the stuff that you edit out, Leon.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that makes the cut is can get pretty blue.
Oh, absolutely. But
there's nothing left. He cut out all the garbage, and it was just the intro.
Yeah. All it really was just, hi, I'm Leon Thomas. These are my co-hosts, Johnny Maloney, Austin Jaworski, and then I started.
Yeah,
so.
it was a thing. We don't need to get into why it was bad. Let's just leave that to people's imaginations, and it'll be more fun.
Yeah,
that's all anyone's gonna care about.
The mystery is more important than the actual truth.
Absolutely.
I will just say it's not even that it was particularly gross content. It was just
It
was mostly just our total inability to actually string together coherent words and sentences. It was just like we got on there and just started howling, like howler monkeys.
In addition to that, like, and I hope I don't sound like a jerk for saying this, but because we could not do that, it also felt just kind of antagonistic among the three of us, and that was the part that made me uncomfortable. I was like, oh, I genuinely don't like listening to this, so I just stopped.
What occurred to me after the fact is that normally it seems to me, at least anyways, that our dynamic goes like this: one of us shows up a bit fucked up, and then like the other two are kind of okay. So, like, either Austin is like, I've been awake all night, I've been editing, I've got exams tomorrow, and then you and I are like, that really kind of sucks, dude. Or, you come on and you're like, I've had a terrible day, I've had a terrible week, I'm just in this awful mood. I come on and I'm like, I want to die, but then, like, the other two are there to prop each other up, and there's some exchange. It seems to me that last week's episode, we all came in a state
I will say the thing that's most emblematic of this is that I ended up naming that audio file "We Need to Stop" because it was the phrase most commonly said during the episode.
Yeah.
Leon especially just kept going, "Please stop, please stop. We need to stop."
Yeah.
All right. So that's our last week update, and I hope that explains that. I have some stuff to talk about this week. One is fun. One is intense. But
intense
I don't
can be
have
fun,
to.
too.
Oh yeah, and camping.
Like roller coasters are intense.
Oh yeah,
and,
but
and
I'm
like
not.
yes,
but...
and like Austin said, camping is intense and can be fun, but is not. Camping is one of the worst things you can do with your life. Hey, how about you and I go head out in the middle of nowhere and pretend we're homeless?
I've been camping a few times, and once was with the Boy Scouts, which was terrible.
You were a Boy Scout too, or did you just tag along?
We've talked about
this. This has been a conversation.
Okay, I don't remember the conversation we had. I think mostly
that was a sub.
I think mostly because I've been conditioned every single time I go to bed at night. Any memory of like Boy Scout, if it has the word Boy Scout in it, I blank it.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, I did that camping and it was bad. But I've also done camping trips when I was younger with just me and my dog. And we would go out into the wilderness and just stay there for a day or two. And it was fun. Just kind of like hanging out and,
not showering, eating like shit, being cold or way too hot.
Hunting the most dangerous game.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I like how we genuinely talked about camping for like a couple minutes because that was just a pun about intense.
Oh, fuck.
Guys, sometimes you just gotta let it roll.
I know. I was just really impressed that you guys took my bad joke and ran with it.
I didn't even get it. I'm sorry. I missed it when you said it, and then I just didn't put together. Never mind. Forget it. Camping is bad. Anyway, so
hang on. I want to hear Austin's thoughts on camping.
Oh, I've been camping. It mostly sucks, but that's because I'm a wiener.
No. It just means that you're a regular human being. And not somebody who feels possessed to try to entertain themselves by getting rid of everything that they like.
Also, I was in Southwest Florida. It's just not a climate hospitable to human beings.
Yeah, that's not somewhere I would want to stay outside for longer than I had to.
Yeah, that's unpleasant. I couldn't go camping now, though, unless the trees had great Wi-Fi. I just life is different.
Is
now.
That a professional concession, Leon, or is that just like preference?
Just in general, like not only would it be bad.
It can be both. You want to stay in touch with what you do for your work, and also you want to be able to, I don't know, look at what's new on Pitchfork.
Yeah. It doesn't. How do I put this? If you've ever read the book High Rise, the general idea is
no, but I have watched them.
Okay. Well, the general idea of both is that technology sort of rewires who you are. And not like in a crazy like the Matrix way, but just like your dependence on it and the way you interact with it changes who you are. And that is definitely true of the internet. And just owning phones. And things like that.
But despite there's the whole millennials, you guys are always looking at your phones, you're always on the lines, you're doing internet stuff. It's like, yeah, because it's my fucking job, dude. Like, if you gave me $1 million, I'd unplug, I'd delete Twitter, I'd run off into the woods. It's like, it's just a necessity for life. It's not like I love it so much.
It's like all those rich old people who employ us are all like, how come you're on your phone all the time? Oh, and by the way, why didn't you answer the email that I sent you about work last night at 11:45 p.m.? Because even though I only showed up to work at like 12 o'clock this morning, you better have been there at 7:45, but you're always on your phone all the time. So,
Or for me and Leon, it's just they need to constantly build a personal brand and, you know,
I know, but
whatever.
you guys, let's be honest. You guys are outliers in terms of what you decide
Okay.
what you decide to do for a living, right?
Mhm.
You know, the problem that I'm saying is that I know plenty of people at my workplace who are constantly in connection with their work emails on the phone. Like in their home emails, on their personal phones and things like that, because they can't step away. And the reason why they can't
never ends.
the reason why they can't step away
is
is because the bosses are like, I expect you to be available. I mean, they don't say that outright, you know, but there's always this like implication, to borrow a cadence from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
This actually like segues more or less into the thing I wanted to talk about.
The fun one?
I'm just not sure if I have like a completely coherent like thesis for
just
it.
drop
But
it on us. So
I'll
you know, spit a quad.
Okay. Wow. So this is going to sound like a complaint. I'm not sure if it is though, and that's the troubling part. I am insulted on a daily basis, threatened on a daily basis, said awful things about me, to me on a daily basis, or just, I shouldn't say or find things about myself of a negative nature that are not said to me, but about me on a daily basis. And it has sort of just become the background radiation of my life. This happens when you have achieved a certain level on YouTube, and also especially if your content is political, also especially if you're a marginalized person. I'm some of those things.
I have noticed that sometimes it just happens if you're on the internet.
Sure,
because I'm none of those things. I'm not like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm tangentially related to some of them.
Okay.
Like I know some guys that are on YouTube.
Yeah,
But
I bet you do. But here's the thing about that. I'm not sure if I'm coping with it really well or if I'm not coping with it at all. And here's why. I think yesterday or the day before, someone said something along the lines of, I bet you have AIDS to me. Just out of the blue. It was unrelated to the thing I was saying.
on
it was
the
just
internet,
being...
they didn't just walk up.
Yes. I'm only talking about the internet right now.
Just making sure.
Was that? Did you upload any videos right before that showed maybe your compromised immune system, or?
Literally nothing I said immediately preceding it had anything to do with AIDS.
Okay. Sorry, I was trying to solve the mystery. I'm sure there's a rational explanation.
Yeah,
a logical one.
If you were like, I can't get rid of this pneumonia, then somebody would be like, I'm concerned for your health. Have you checked?
Yeah, it definitely was not meant as a way to out of concern.
It was a conversation open, is what you're saying. That
no, it was purposefully an insult.
No,
yeah.
I mean I get that. I just like, was this the first thing that they said to you?
This was the first thing they said to me in response to me saying a thing not to them.
Right.
Okay. So, and didn't faze me. But a few minutes later, I thought about it again, and I'm like, wait a minute, that was kind of fucked up, wasn't it? That someone would say something like that to me. And like in noticing that, I wasn't immediately bothered by the fact that this person said that thing about me as it relates to AIDS. I was bothered that it took me a few minutes for it to register that was really shitty. Because of how common it is. I think I only noticed it because AIDS isn't a common thing said about me. It's usually other stuff. It's usually specifically political nastiness.
You're a cuck.
Or Or sexuality stuff and things like that happen quite a bit. But I don't recall anyone ever saying anything about AIDS to me before, and I think that's why I recognized it. Like, that was different, wasn't it?
It has gone out of vogue as an insult. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people are surviving it now, so it's like somehow less of an insult to say.
And it's also it's also I'm trying to find the right. It affects everybody, whereas back in the day, having AIDS was like coded for. Yeah. You must be gay.
Yeah. Although I suspect that some people still use it in that kind of way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make about this is it is now I realize that it is impossible for me to recognize whether I've just developed a thick skin about this kind of thing, or if I'm just repressing it, and it will like at some point I'll snap, and I'll have a very public explosive meltdown about it,
or if you're just numb to it.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, have I developed a thick skin, or am I numb to it at this point? And if it's that's not good either. Especially considering a lot of, like I said, it's not just people saying, you're mean or something like that. It's threats. And it's important to recognize when something is a threat, just in case someone follows through with it. So I'm not sure if being numb to it or developing a thick skin or whatever you want to call it is actually coping with it. But I don't know I'm not sure which one I am doing or what is happening. And it's only just now, like after years of this, I'm like starting to think like, how am I actually dealing with this? Well, as well as can be expected. Or is this actually affecting me in ways I'm not recognizing, like on the surface, So I'm not sure I have a conclusion to this. It's just a thing I've been thinking about, and it would probably be easier for me to express out loud than to just like dwell on it. That being said, I still wouldn't give up my job for almost anything. Like, I love what I do. So this isn't me saying, the worst thing in the world is having my job. And it's like, no, it's not. I like my life and I like what I do. I'm just wondering if there's going to be a toll for it down the line that I have not yet seen coming.
It's like the slow, grinding dehumanization of like retail and people being like shitty to you in small, impersonal ways versus people who, seek you out and have some kind of personal beef with you and attack you with like a dagger precision because they are attacking you and not just, the worker at Starbucks, but it's like less and it's spread out. So it's like a different kind of shitty work situation. In unrelated news, a popular streamer had someone shoot at their house recently. Did you guys hear about that?
Yeah.
No,
Dr.
Disrespect.
Dr. Disrespect, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a shitty, bad person, but...
Totally, an absolute asshole.
But you don't... I mean, wow. I don't even need to qualify that. But it's not cool to shoot at someone's house. That goes without saying, Austin, you dumb shit. Obviously. Yeah. Oh, also, there was that YouTuber where it was a couple. They were YouTubers, and someone broke into their house with a gun, apparently to kill the husband and like kidnap the wife because he was like in love with her from YouTube. And they hid and called the police, and then I think either got shot by the police or killed himself. I can't remember. This happened like a year ago. So
yeah, I know at least, without naming any names, I know at least 2 YouTubers in the past few weeks who have dealt with in-person tangible threats.
Oh yeah, no, someone showed up on my doorstep is like a thing all of us have heard about from what's the word I'm looking for? Colleagues,
yeah.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah, I'm as careful as I can be. I don't use my real name on the internet, and everything that is connected to my accounts has like two-step verification, and I pay extra for guards that I guess that are how do I put this? I realize I said that and it sounds like I have guards outside of my home. No,
I'm available.
I mean, I pay extra for companies to protect my information.
Yeah.
Just in case. So I'm only mildly worried that someone is going to like show up and say, "I can't believe you thought that about Starship Troopers, Leon," and shoot me in the head.
That is what a Starship Trooper misunderstanding motherfucker would do, though.
Absolutely, but that's
But he
like
would, then he would also say, before shooting you in the head, "Would you like to know more?"
Jesus.
Oh my God, I have concerns about my safety for reasons, but that's a mild one. I'm curious or like semi concerned about the possible like psychological toll this could have on me that I'm not recognizing, because like my life is good, so maybe I'm just not noticing how shitty a lot of other stuff is happening around me, and then I'm like, oh no, it turns out I wasn't paying attention, and now I'm really messed up.
There's a lot of that kind of discourse going around about like YouTuber burnout and the unique difficulties of that profession. And like, all labor is shitty pretty much. That's why you get paid for it. It's a compensation for your suffering. Yeah, but there isn't a like long-standing tradition of the kind of work we do. So there isn't like an understanding of it. Everyone's like, oh, so you just watch movies and get paid? Must be nice. So like no one, most people don't understand. Yeah. And if you look at the comment section of any articles about like, oh, this YouTuber was expected to stream 12 hours a day and they try to kill themselves or something, and it's like, what a pussy. I wish I'd do anything for your job. You suck.
I have been on some very awkward dates where I've talked about YouTube. Because the conversation is just kind of like led down that way, where they're like, really? You know people who like do that for a living? I'm like, yeah. They are some of the most depressed people I have ever met in my entire life.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, I'm not sure if I have a conclusion. It was just a thing I wanted to throw out there into the universe, and now it's there. Neat.
Last thing I'll say is that with real fame, if you're like actually famous, like Jay-Z or something, you have an entirely different access to support and like literal protection. Like you were joking about like having bodyguards earlier, but like there's an entirely different experience of everyone knows your name, but no one can actually get to you, or you don't need to worry about it. Like I'm sure he doesn't read all his mentions if he's even on Twitter. I actually don't know, but there's like
tons of other stuff too. I mean, like I've got a funny story. But keep going.
Uh-oh. I was just gonna say there's a saying in like entertainment, that's what the money's for. Which is like, oh, why are you getting paid so much? Just because there's so much about this lifestyle that would fucking suck if you weren't getting paid millions of dollars to be famous. So it's just a thing that like, oh yeah, YouTube, you get all of the notoriety and the attention and the people who just irrationally hate you, but most people don't actually get the money that normally is associated with that kind of attention. So
yeah.
Anyway, Johnny, your story?
What's your funny story?
It's not a super funny story, right? But like, I mean, you guys have watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you remember the season where Mac got fat?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so the new one that has just happened, Rob McElhenney, who plays Mac, got swole as fuck.
He's like literally the hottest person alive after being previously like the joke was he looked very bad.
Yeah. So then like, somebody posted like a news article or something like that or whatever, and was like, or it was like a tweet or a comment or something that was like, Rob McElhenney is one of the only people I will ever respect for gaining or losing weight for a part, because the only reason why he does it is because of a joke.
Yeah, like the reaction from the other characters on the show when he showed up swole was like, are you just doing this for attention? Like, we don't care. You're just being weird. Stop it. Like, they're not impressed at all. Where in real life, everyone would be super impressed.
So people asked him, like, holy shit, like, how did you do that? And he wrote, and quote, look, it's not that hard. All you need to do is lift weights 6 days a week, stop drinking alcohol, don't eat anything after 7 p.m., don't eat any carbs or sugar at all. In fact, just don't eat anything you like. Get the personal trainer that did Magic Mike, sleep 9 hours a night, run 3 miles a day, and have a studio pay for the whole thing over a 6 to 7 month span. I don't know why everyone's not doing this. It's a super realistic lifestyle and an appropriate body image to compare oneself to. Hashtag Hollywood.
Yeah, we've almost found ourselves in a different conversation entirely, which is that there's a reason obesity and poverty are linked, and it's not because poor people are lazy. It's because it's an entirely different lifestyle that you were able to leave, from the food you can afford to the time you can spend working out. It's just... It's like an alien experience to rich people to understand that, like, any moment I'm awake, I need to be working to make money, or my kids will starve.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like, tangentially to the whole, like, once you're rich, super famous and things like that, you have access to security, you have access to personal trainers and chefs and, like, people who will pay you just to, like, get fit and shit like that.
Mm-hmm. That's what the money's for.
Yeah, I mean, Henry Cavill just got announced as Geralt in The Witcher that Netflix is doing.
Yeah, we're jumping ahead to some of the questions. People are asking our thoughts on the casting of The Witcher.
Okay, all right, we'll wait for that. I'll wait for that then.
Okay.
All right.
Leon, you said you had another thing?
Oh, yeah, but I don't want to be all my things at once.
Okay, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Leon. I don't want to hear from you anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. Austin, you can do one of your things, or Johnny, you can do one of your things.
I think Johnny and I might have the same thing.
We probably have one of the same things.
You want to talk about Iron Fist Season 2?
Let's talk about Iron Fist Season 2, baby.
All right, that's where we are. For some ungodly reason, we're still watching all of the Marvel shows on Netflix. I don't know why. Brain damage?
I'm definitely not. I just want everyone who is new to the show to know that I don't care. I tried, but I couldn't.
Leon avoided the cordyceps parasite that has infested Johnny and I.
Yeah. It's in my brain now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So... what did you think?
So, background is Iron Fist 1 was very bad, probably the worst of any of these shows. The protagonist was...
Not just probably. It was, like, abject, demonstrably the worst.
Yeah, very bad. The plot was, like, all business politics that nobody cares about. There's no likable characters. The fight choreography is extraordinarily bad.
Except, for, I can't remember the actress's Colleen Wing.
She's good in general, but like they had no time to prepare. It was like a whole rushed mess, and it was very bad. Iron Fist Season 2, therefore, is a step up. The question is, how much of a step up? For me, it was better. What do you think, Johnny?
It was absolutely better. Yes.
Yeah, obviously.
But yeah, how much of a step up? That's a good question. I sort of feel like it was a mile above what it used to be. Like it is hugely better than the first season, I feel.
Yeah, it's better in every way. Yeah. But I don't know. It's not like
that's not really a statement on how good it is as a season, more a statement on how bad the first season was.
Yes.
Jessica Henwick, that's her name. Pardon me. So like, when it started out, I remember thinking to myself, okay, so it's obvious that you guys have listened to the criticisms of your first season, because it looks like Finn Jones has doubled up on his training, his choreography training. Because that can do a lot for a fight scene, how much time an actor spends preparing for a single fight scene. So I was like, okay, good for you, Finn Jones. You've amped that up. That's good. I also like how he's not wandering around in New York barefoot anymore.
They do a lot of work to undouchify him. Like, he gets an actual job that he has to work at, and then he gets his ass kicked, like, brutally nonstop for, like, several episodes straight.
Yep.
They just try to break him down after he was so insufferable.
So, I like that. I felt like the relationships were a lot more complicated. And
yeah, they just let some people be in a relationship now, which Luke Cage, for all the things I liked about it, kind of ended up throwing the ball away on that one.
Yeah, and not just that, but like the relationships like between the characters, between like because it like the main villain of the second season of Iron Fist is basically one of the main character's best friends. That's not really spoilers. They kind of reveal that in the second episode or so.
Well, it's shown at the end of the first season. It's revealed that he's turned on him. So it's if you're caught up,
it's pretty obvious. So having that, and having his relationship, having Danny Rand's relationship with Ward Meacham, kind of like go places, and Ward Meacham struggling to be a better person, like it was substantially more developed. It was more dramatic. I was more attached to the characters. I was really appreciative that they didn't just decide to bring in here's a brand new villain, right? But I was also a little amused by the fact that one of the criticisms about the first season is why are we making Danny Rand a white guy? Because that's just kind of that's not even kind of, that's cultural appropriation, really. And
yeah,
so
it's something that comic books always had a problem with, and it's just like, if you're making an adaptation of it, either you change it entirely or you have to deal with the problem that's already there.
Yeah, exactly. And so I sort of felt like at the beginning of the second season, they were like, look, Asians!
Jesus. I mean, but like the villain's literal motivation is you're an outsider who came in and literally stole my culture, and then you walk around like you deserve it, and it's totally fine for you to have it, and it's like it's more
that was
effective.
Meta. Was but like I'm just talking about for like the first few episodes, where it was like every secondary, even tertiary character that they run into, it's like, we have to save Chinatown, and like it almost all happens in Chinatown, and I was like, yeah, but he's still white.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do some really interesting things. It's hard to talk about without spoiling, but they make some bold choices, especially towards the end. If there's going to be more Iron Fist, they listen to the criticism and they're trying something. So I'll give them credit for that.
And that is really what, like, watching it all the way through really raised my opinion of it. And that's why I sort of feel like I say, it has improved a mile above the first season. Because it does look like they were actually aware of what upset people about the first one. Yeah. And are trying really hard to not only address it, like, in the writer's room and, like, in the production offices, but also in the story, too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was... I will go so far as to say I enjoyed it, actually.
I think it helps that it's much shorter. Almost all of the Netflix Marvel stuff is like 13 episodes. This is only 10. And I'm not even sure it needed 10, because the story is like, your best friend thinks you suck because you stole his culture. He tries to steal it back, and then he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, there was a lull there in the, like, 6 to 8 arc.
Yeah.
I want to give a big shout out to Alice Eve, who makes a great performance as Mary Walker.
I'm a little torn about it, because I'm not a comic book fan. My understanding is that they adapted the concept of that character, and it is what it is. But
I'm not a fan of the character, but I feel like the performance was great.
Yeah, I mean, they did fine with the material. I don't know. I'm not going to spoil too much, but let's just say there's a character with a mental illness that neurotypicals fucking love. It's like their favorite mental illness, and they just love to put it in movies and TV and stuff. And I'm kind of over it, honestly. But they did fine with the material, as far as I understand. I don't suffer from it. I can't speak to it, but it seems like they tried. Like, they used like the clinical terms, and they talk about it a little bit, and it's like. Yeah. I don't think this was malicious. They consulted
people, but I'm not talking about the portrayal or anything like that. I'm not talking about the content. I'm talking about the actress's performance was impressive. I was very, very rooted to her performance.
Yeah, and they needed something to flesh it out because the main conflict is pretty simple. If anything, they could have cut a lot of the fat from the first season and just, like, it could have been the first half of the first season is him versus boring business people in the hand, and the second half could have been the Davos thing, and then season 2 could have been just a new story. It's the pacing's pretty wild, but that's because there's so many boring elements, just people talking about, like, stocks and patents and stuff, and it's just like, yo, I do not care.
I was so glad they didn't bring the hand at all.
Yeah.
I'm just so sick and tired of the hand.
If they're back in Daredevil, I think I might just stop with all of this, but I think they're out. That's the impression I'm getting, is that they're done, but you never know. It's comic books. No one's dead forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could talk more. I just think it's better than the first, but still not great. It's not one of my favorites. It's still far below, say, Luke Cage 2, Jessica Jones 1, Daredevil 1. It's towards the bottom of the pack. The villain is fine.
Maybe comparable to, like, it might be actually, no, it's better than Daredevil 2.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It's better than Daredevil season 2.
Anything with the hand is just automatically way, way worse. So yeah, I'll agree with you there.
Yeah. It might even be better than the Defenders.
The Defenders just felt so, like, inconsequential. Like, Sigourney Weaver was, like, the only thing I remember from it. There's, like, literally Sigourney Weaver talks, and then the hand are, like, blown up in CGI explosion or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything else about that show.
And Matt Murdock goes into a basement.
But yeah, what do you think about Davos? Like, I think the actor has an incredible energy, like just this aura around him. But his motivation, while good on paper, I feel like wasn't strong enough for the effect it has in the show. Like, this affects the character Joy Meacham too, or their motivations are like, you survived a plane crash, and that made things inconvenient for me. Like, what? What are you talking about? Like, everyone's motivation is so fucking weird and alien.
No, it's all myopic. It's all self-driven, right?
Yeah, and listen, there are people in life who are that petty. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it didn't hit with the full force.
I feel like he could have been, the actor could have been given better material. But again, his performance was clearly one of the highlights.
Yeah, I mean, like, coming off of Luke Cage too, though, damn, that was a high watermark.
I know that's a hard act to follow. But like, I was worried, right in the beginning, because I mean, it's a comic book story. I'm not really expecting Shakespeare here, so it's very easy at some point in time. You're gonna be like, ooh, when's this dude gonna cross the line? And when he does, it's a bad scene. but he did it okay, Like, it was like, you're only really as good as the material you get, but you did okay, man.
I think if you got to establish when you cross the line the way Bushmaster did, which was stab someone in one eye and then drag the knife across their other eye, that really establishes your dominance.
Yeah, what I'm talking about is that there's there comes a point in time in every comic book story when somebody who has tons of power is like, I can exert my will over anyone, and I'm talking about, you probably know it, but the apology scene.
Which one?
The one where he drags his minions to apologize.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you not think I'm a good man? Like I was like, oh, there it is. There we go. That's the turning point. I mean, before then, everybody's like, he's a villain, he's a villain, he's a villain, he's a villain, because he's killing bad guys, stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, he's following his ideology. Like, this is what he's been taught from birth. I don't really believe that he's like, oh, no, there it is. Yeah, okay.
It was like a linguistic mix-up, too. Like, I was just, like, trying to get it out of that situation. Anyway, This is too vague for podcasting. But,
exactly.
The whole thing is a little silly. But it works mostly because the actor is terrifying.
He does a great job. He does a really, really great job.
All right. I miss Leon. Let's bring him back.
Yay!
What's up?
You guys got any podcasts?
Yeah. Okay, so I have a couple like fun things to talk about.
Give me some fresh podcast. Right,
okay.
right off
I don't know
the
how
line.
much. I don't know how much I have to say about the first thing. I bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's fun. I'm enjoying the racing. It's basically it.
Gotta go fast, Leon.
I do. There are a few different difficulty settings, like 50, 100, 150, and 200. I put mine on 150, and I'm not gonna say that I'm good at this game. I just think the game is not hard.
Fuck this children's game. Give me some real adult shit.
No. I just
wants
think
Mega Man Kart.
The game is designed to be fun, not frustrating, and that's fine. Unless you put it on the really hard mode. There are like 10 different not tracks, but like 10 different racing series, I guess. Like there's like 4 in each. I've beaten, I want to say 8 of the 10 series over the past week or so. And again, not because I'm very good at Mario Kart or video games in general, just because the game is kind of designed to not make it super easy for you, but for making the challenge reasonable. So I'm not sure I have like a deep dive into it though. It's Mario Kart. It's not noticeably different from the last Mario Kart game I played, which was on the GameCube a million years ago. It is roughly the same game, except with prettier graphics, and I would say more complicated.
And also, at some point in time, someone says, "Yahoo!"
Yeah. Maybe not more complicated tracks, more like
elaborate.
They're elaborate. They're not complicated in like, oh, I don't know which way to go. No, it's like
yeah, that would
not
be
like that.
That would be Mega Man Racing. Mega Man Racing would be like, you're coming up to a 3-way intersection. Sorry, boom, you died.
Nah, that you can't even tell which way is the one where you die.
And the floor just disappears in a pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And you have to use the right car for each level, or when you reach the finish line,
it's really hard otherwise.
And you have to use an exploit where you pause it while the damage is being taken. Sucks. Mega Man's bad.
I don't know about that one. I never tried that, but then again, I don't cheat. Fucking noob. All right, so
some of the Mega Mans are too hard, Leon.
Okay. Anyway, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is basically, it was on a version of it was apparently on the Wii U, but I didn't have the Wii U, and I just didn't buy the one on the Wii. So this is like the first Mario Kart game I played in a while, and it is the same Mario Kart, and that is fine. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just give me more and more racing.
Yeah,
it's okay.
A lot of Nintendo games get like dinged for just being like more of the same. But for me, it's like if I showed up to football, I wouldn't be like, man, it's the same football last week. Like,
how come we don't have a new rule about how we all have to wear moon boots?
It's just the game. It's Mario Kart. It's like a thing you do. It's established, and that's people like it because of what it is. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's fine. I enjoy it. If that is unappealing to you, I get that. But for me, it's like, oh, I haven't played Mario Kart in many years, or any of the previous iterations in the last 2 console generations. But I immediately knew how to play Mario Kart, even though all of the tracks were new.
Man, how come John Wick 2 was so much like John Wick 1? Why wasn't he like, I don't know, into ceramics or something like that?
Yeah. Anyway, it's good and I enjoy it. I also bought Toad Treasure Tracker, which is also a game that was on the Wii U.
He's so
it was also cute. Yeah, it was also on the Wii U, but again, I didn't have that system, so I didn't play it. They have an enhanced version on the Switch, which I bought. I haven't played it yet because I play one game at a time. I'll play that next time. But there's a bunch of Switch games coming up that I want to play, like Valkyria Chronicles 4, and Mega Man 11. So I got stuff to do as it relates to video games, which is nice. That really hasn't been part of my life for many years until this year. So I'm enjoying myself. I realize that my favorite genre of games is Nintendo games, and so I should have just been doing that.
They do make the best ones, so that kind of checks out.
Yeah, they really do. I don't know why
they make universal ones.
I
don't know if I can call Nintendo games the best ones, but I can tell you that every Nintendo game that I've played, I have pretty much enjoyed.
Yeah.
Leon, did you hear that there's a trans character in Valkyria Chronicles 4?
No, but I'm looking forward to all of that. Yeah. The first one was made years and years ago, and it was already queer.
Yeah, there's like I think a gay and a lesbian character.
But that's not a Nintendo game, guys.
It's published by Sega, but it's coming to the Switch. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and that'll be fun. I don't know why I bothered trying to play like The Witcher to get myself back into video games.
Because I probably tried to convince you to do it.
I'm almost certain that is it.
For which I apologize.
It's fine.
It was hubris. It was hubris, frankly.
I'm just trying to find a way into Leon's psyche, so I can say, Leon, this.
The only way that this is going to work, Johnny...
We agree on movies, is the thing.
Usually. Yeah.
Leon, do you think you would have enjoyed The Witcher, Leon, more if it starred Captain Toad? And they were like, it's Geralt, we need you to go slay the Manticore. And he was like, okay!
Yeah, I mean, I almost certainly would. We disagree on some movies, but I would say we agree on movies.
You're thinking about one in particular. You got a chip on your shoulder, and I want to hear about what one it is.
Oh, Tree of Life.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Although I hear there's a new cut coming out.
That's what I'm very excited about it. There's a much longer cut of the Tree of Life coming out, and it's going to be like in 4K. I don't have anything that can play anything in 4K that won't destroy my computer. So I'm basically going to wait until I can do an upgrade around the end of the year, and then I will start buying 4K movies.
I promise you this, Leon. I will rewatch that movie.
Okay.
When the extended cut comes out.
It came out yesterday.
Oh, it came out? Okay. All right.
Yeah. Then the only reason I'm not watching it now is because I want to wait until I have something that can play something in 4K before I.
I'm not that guy.
I want the most Tree of Life in my eyes.
The most K's.
Yeah. Whatever.
Not two, not three. Give me 4.
If I'm gonna watch what is basically a new Tree of Life movie, I want the full experience. So I'm just gonna wait a little bit.
Okay, I'll tell you what then. When you watch it, right? I will watch it as well. I will rent it. Okay. And then we can talk about whether or not my feelings about it have changed. Okay. Because I did not like it, but my mind is open.
Okay. I don't know if you can rent something from the Criterion Collection, but whatever. I mean, it's cool.
I don't know.
Anywho. It's fine. Well, whatever. Anyway, that's... Oh, and I wanted to talk about how great the Adventure Time series finale is. Austin, I really hope you've watched it by now.
I have not. I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's okay.
I fucked up. It's not, it's not streaming anywhere that I have access to that I know of.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
But yeah, I kind of heard like some of the stuff. Like I can go into the fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Like the soundproof booth if you need to. But
no, it's okay. I mean, Johnny definitely hasn't seen it, so like
definitely
we'll just do.
Although I did accidentally change the channel onto its end credits.
Nice. Good for you. Well, it's okay. There's really no rush. It's not like people will stop caring about Adventure Time immediately after it ends. I'm sure the fandom, and I know this because YouTube keeps recommending me new videos about Adventure Time that have like been about trying to dissect the series finale and say, in this one frame, this character is almost seen. Could it be? And it's like it's very like conspiratorial and weird, and I'm into it. But yeah, we can just do that another time. It's fine. Okay, those are the things I wanted to talk about this week. So now I'm done. And if either of you have something you want to talk about for the next few minutes before we do questions, like be my guest.
Johnny, you got anything this week?
I mean, you all know that my computer died.
Yeah,
murdered.
No, it was not murdered.
Cold blood.
It just I did an autopsy. Okay, this was a total accidental death.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the true crime documentary about this.
It's
fine.
I build my own PCs to spec. Right? When I was younger, when I was like in my my teens, my late teens and my 20s and things like that, I used to actually put them together as well. But then as I got older and my earning power increased, I would be like, no, you put this together for me. I will pay you to do it. Because, as much of a hobby as it used to be like, oh, I'm doing a techie thing, there came a point in time where it was like, I have actual life things to do, so please, just do it for me. But I've always dictated the components myself, and that can sometimes lead to disaster. When you don't have something that kind of like comes off the line pre-assembled, that people have already selected the components and tested and things like that. I mean, computers are finicky anytime whatsoever. But when I put my machine together back in 2012, I believe it was 2012 or 2013, I decided I was going to be daring. And I bought a prototype graphics card called the GTX NVIDIA Titan. And they when they originally made this card, they were like, nobody's going to buy this. It's like, it's ridiculously expensive. It's way more powerful than anybody needs. And then it sold out like right away. I was one of those people. In fact, it sold so well that almost immediately they redesigned it to be more customer friendly, to be like much easier in cooperating with motherboards and other systems and things like that, and almost completely forgot the original existed, because the new one was called the GTX Titan. So I've always had a little bit of trouble in later years dealing with my NVIDIA Titan. And yeah, so the other day on Monday, I was just minding my own business, playing a Spider-Man game. Not the new Spider-Man game, because I don't have a PS4, but I'm ridiculously jealous, so I was like, I'm going to play my favorite Spider-Man game, which is called Spider-Man Web of Shadows. And I started to get weird artifacts. Bits of green and weird things. And then the whole screen went maroon, and my system crashed. I was like, oh, okay, that's no good. I guess I'll just restart. So I restarted, and then, BIOS went through. I'm going to just throw words out here. The ink trap was fine. Got a good book count. The number find was everything looked all right. And then I got to the loading screen for Windows 10. And then loading screen finished, and the login screen was supposed to appear, but I got the Matrix. Leon was kind enough to point that out on Twitter. The photo that I took was the Matrix. So basically I spent an entire, almost 9 hours trying to diagnose what this goddamn problem was. Because everybody was like, oh, I think it's the graphics card. 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 And when you're the second person on Twitter, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. When you're the third, I'm like, dude, please. When you're the fourth, I just want to tell you to shut the fuck up. Because I had a whole thread going through about me trying to diagnose the problem. I'm not a newbie when it comes to putting my computer together, right? So I wasn't getting any weird graphical artifacts during the loading screen, during BIOS or anything like that, nothing. I even got to safe mode a couple of times and nothing was wrong. But then yeah, eventually I tried reinstalling Windows. That didn't work, so I reinstalled it on another hard drive. That didn't work. So I went back to the first reinstall on my regular hard drive and tried to change the resolution. And then it was like, so I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the hard drive. Or not the hard drive, sorry, the GPU. So I've had to replace my graphics card, but everything's working fine again. You can hear me. I'm podcasting right now. We didn't even really have any audio problems whatsoever starting this one, except originally I sounded like I was in a cave, but I fixed it in less than a minute.
Yeah. Good for you. Johnny, I want you to know that when you were talking about Spider-Man and your PC dying, I really wanted to say, was your hard drive bit by a radioactive computer bug? But there wasn't a long enough pause.
Yeah.
So I just want you to know that bad joke hovered around your entire conversation.
I apologize. So. I was just trying to run through that as quick as possible because I know that the tech talk bores people.
It's fine.
Except apparently it doesn't, because I got so many people tweeting me, "Oh, it looks like your graphics card."
Yeah.
And I just want listeners to know that I'm not like making fun of you specifically, right?
Yeah.
Because
just in broad terms.
Yeah, you guys were just trying to help. Thank you for that. But at the same time, it was just sort of like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yes, I know.
Yeah, you're encountering what I encounter every time I make a video and someone says the exact same comment.
Yeah.
That has already been said a few times because they don't want to like read the comments first and then offer their opinion. Yeah. Which is, I understand if there's like hundreds of comments, but usually like on my videos there, it's like there's a few dozen for a while.
I'm talking like 10 tops.
Yeah.
So thanks for being kind-hearted. But in the future, maybe consider that somebody else has already said it before. Yeah. Especially if it's a 7-hour-old tweet.
Yeah. Anyway, Austin, hit us with those questions.
Before we jump into questions, I just want to say I did watch the second season of The Good Place, and I don't know what else there's.
Yes.
I don't know what else there's to say about it. It's just the best show ever made, and it's just really good and funny and sweet and smart and preachy in a way I like.
Yeah. The streetcar episode.
Mm-hmm. The trolley problem is the name of the episode.
The trolley problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just chef genius.
Okay, I've never seen this show, but I know philosophy, and I assume that the trolley problem is an episode that is about whether you go left or right if there are two people or one person.
Yes, it is explicitly about that.
Yes.
Okay. I like I said, never seen the show, but I know it's about philosophy.
Leon, you have to watch this show.
I know.
I'm pretty sure Leon writes for The Good Place. It's very Leon.
That's why he's never seen it. It's obvious.
Yeah.
Austin.
That's kind of a reason why I don't want to watch it. It's kind of like how lawyers don't want to watch movies about law.
Oh no. It's not like that at all.
They love My Cousin Vinny.
You will appreciate it.
All right,
I know what you're saying, Billy. And whenever I see like a YouTube video or something, it's like the religious symbolism of this movie or video game. I'm like, this would just piss me off. I would just be like, no, you don't understand, and I get all frustrated, so I don't bother.
Yeah.
But it is a very Leon show. Every character is always like, as Sartre said.
Not every character.
No, there's a couple of characters in particular. That's correct. Let's see. Okay. Questions? You guys ready?
Yep. Ready.
Yeah.
Let's see. Candy Boo, that's a Halloween name for @CandyCorn on Twitter, asks, both Wordfunk and Dicefunk have a pretty large queer audience. What have you done, or what do you think you've done to cultivate this audience?
I was just saying that the other day, I tweeted, hey, I noticed I have a lot of trans subscribers, and that's pretty cool. I didn't go into it any deeper than that. It was just an observation. If I've done something for that to be a thing, I guess it's just not being shitty and
It's the soft tyranny of low expectations, where it's like, well, not actively cruel, so I guess I'll watch this guy's videos.
Right. And sometimes I say things about trans issues. It's not like a constant topic on my show, but occasionally it is, and it's pretty clear.
It reminds me, and the Lost episode we recorded last week, one of the most awkward parts was when, apropos of nothing, Johnny just yelled, "The gays love me!"
Yep.
And then we sat in fucking awkward silence for like a minute and a half.
Right. I'm going to be perfectly honest. That was around the point when I decided that I'm not even joking.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
If that wasn't the last straw, it was close.
It was so weird. I love it.
Part of the Lost episode was I talked about how I don't understand. I'm not qualified to understand, though, and it's not. I don't have to understand.
Okay.
I can accept. That is like the most important thing, is to include and to accept. The only thing that I can think of possibly why I might contribute to a high LGBTQ plus audience for this podcast is my willingness to talk about mental illness and the problems that I have gone through. The acceptance of vulnerability, being able to actually talk about your problem, being able to actually expose who you are, to be honest as a person, to present yourself in a way that is honest and not just front.
Yeah, I think there's probably something appealing to the non-toxic masculinity we represent. Like, I don't know how common it is for there just to be a place where, like, chill and, like, vulnerable and emotional with each other. I'm sure it exists. I'm not super familiar with
and talk about how they care about people and want them to have, like, health care and be able to, like, live their lives and be their true selves and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah. Also, we shouldn't be able to specifically target demographics. We would not be responsible with that power. Don't give it to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I talk about being, like, very feminine and androgynous, and my gender stuff is weird, without getting into specifics on the show. And maybe that is a thing that, but I don't know. Then again, I don't really talk about that on Twitter, and Twitter is where I seem to have the most. So I don't know. I will say this to anyone who wants to be vulnerable in my YouTube comments and not deal with someone, like, saying hate speech at you. I have to click approve on every comment, and people who use hate speech and whatnot in my comment section, you'll never see it. You will literally never see it.
Leon just catapults those fuckboys into the sun.
Tons of those, but also just I read every comment. I read everyone all the way through, unless it's like a screed where I know it's going to be, like, a waste of my time. And I was like, like, by the first two sentences saying cuck unironically, I don't need to read any more of this, so I just delete it.
Yeah, I just think you just kind of get the audience you cultivate, right? Like, a lot of really shitty toxic people online have really shitty toxic fan bases, and I think we try to avoid that as best we can. We probably fuck it up a lot, but yeah, but we try our best. Another question here. Let's just get to the thing we talked about earlier. Dark Kent Reltnark asks our thoughts on both the Geralt casting, Henry Cavill, and the quote-unquote Black Siri. I know, Gerald. Gerald's game. No. Okay, so they first of all, they cast the main character, but also there was a casting call for Ciri, an important minor character, and they asked for ethnic minorities, which has made a lot of people's diapers very messy. Also, it's the adaptation, the Netflix show The Witcher is going to be based on the books, not the video games, because of the way the rights were sold from the author, whose name I do not know off the top of my head.
Andrzej Sapkowski, if I'm pronouncing that properly.
Probably not, but
I don't know.
Polish, go with it.
Polish is not even my 60th language.
So first of all, Henry Cavill, thoughts?
He's a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
No, I strongly disagree, but okay.
He's a good actor. I don't know if you've ever seen him in the oh god, what was it? That TV show that they did on the Brits about Henry VIII when he was a young man.
Was it on the BBC?
Yeah.
Then definitely not.
Oh fuck.
The Tudors?
Sorry? Yeah, The Tudors.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've seen Henry Cavill in a few movies, and he's always been bad. I've never found.
Yeah, I mean, the movies that he has been cast in recently are not good.
No. But he was in a very good movie. He was just the worst part of
you're talking about the new Mission Impossible.
Yeah, he physically was great in that movie. But
he big though.
He was, but emotionally there was nothing as usual. He's
good. He's a good actor. He is.
I'll take your word for it.
I will defend him. I just feel like he's been given bad material for the longest time.
I think he would make a really great American Psycho reboot main character. He has this Abercrombie and Fitch presence that I find unsettling.
But you know that he's super into video games? Apparently
he might be a very nice man.
All right, first of all, the fact that he's super into video games is not a good thing.
Here, check this out. Check this out, because I have problems with him as a person, all right? But apparently the story is that he missed the phone call to tell him that he was going to be Superman because he was in the middle of a World of Warcraft raid. But yeah, I have problems with the guy. This is the thing. I think he could be a good Geralt, but
Gerald.
Shut up, Austin. But a couple of weeks ago, or a month or two ago, or something like that, he was in a magazine like GQ or something like that, where he was "Oh, I don't even want to ask girls out anymore because maybe they'll say that I raped them." And I was like, "Shut the fuck up, Henry Cavill."
That's the most Reddit-ass thing ever. There's an entire subculture of men who are I could be dating many women, but I'm afraid that they're gonna...
It's so fucking Reddit. It's so just
It's so preposterous for Henry Cavill, of all things, of all people, to say that. Because, what is he going to do? Say they're man, I'm so fucking hot and I can't get laid. It's really? I sure think Superman. I'm sure you're...
To borrow some phrases from the incels. What the fuck, Chad?
My God. So
I think if you spend a lot of your life worried about being called a rapist, that probably says more about you. Yeah. I think maybe you need to look inside yourself and examine the behavior that leads you to be worried about being called a rapist.
Although maybe he's just waiting for marriage. Maybe he's really just a sweet Christian dude who plays World Warcraft for hours a day. I don't know.
Okay, so
Henry
Cavill has bad opinions.
Yeah, Henry Cavill. But Henry Cavill is above problematic. He's more than problematic.
But
he is problem.
But would he make a good Gary?
He might. He might make a good a Gendry.
Yeah. This is a thing now.
Well, because one of the whole things about the Witchers is being removed from emotions.
He's got it.
I feel like he has. I feel like he's not removed. They're just muted. I don't know. I'm not particularly excited about this casting, honestly. In addition to being kind of a gross dude, I don't think I've ever seen him in a role I enjoyed. Although I haven't seen the new Mission Impossible. And there are just so many people. The fantasy casting thing is whatever, but I feel like there are so many people who would be a natural fit for this, and just none of them are Henry Cavill. So it's not ideal.
No,
for me.
It's definitely not ideal. but I can wait for judgment. I will still grimace at the screen. Like every single time I see Tom Cruise on screen, I go, give it a chance.
Yeah. I think Henry Cavill would be a very good Witcher because he seems like he's not fun.
Jesus. He was waiting so long and we kept cutting him off. So 2 other things on The Witcher. A, what do you think about being adapted from the novels instead of the games? And B, what do you think about the Ciri casting call, which is, she's white in the video games, unless you're not familiar, but the casting call was for ethnic minorities.
Okay, well, number 2 being cast from the novel, I don't give 2 shits. You know, my brother is a huge fan. He's read a bunch of the translated English novels, and he's told me some things about it, and they sound fun, you know? Like, he told me about this one scene. I want to borrow them from him, but he told me about this one scene where, like, Geralt, sorry, not Geralt, Joe, spelt with a G.
Okay, just gave up on that one, huh?
Like, is protecting a guy, and a bunch of people, like, shoot arrows at them, and he, like, with his sword, Joe blocks, like, 4 arrows. And this guy is like, holy shit, I've never seen that done before. And Jennifer says, and you never will, because I've never done that before. You know, like it sounds like the video games follow the novels pretty well.
I mean, they are literally following in the sense that they kind of continue the story. They're not like
they
straight
take place after the novels. Yeah.
Yeah, the first Witcher, he wakes up having, he dies in one of the books. Spoilers, I guess. And the first Witcher game is him waking up, being like, "Lol, not actually dead."
So I'm okay with it being adapted from the novels. I mean,
yeah,
interrelated source text, material, movies, TV shows, video games, it's fine. They don't all have to...
I think it's a strength, because for a Western audience, we are going to be pissy about how it adapts the thing we're familiar with, and I think so the novels give you more freedom and more breadth, because there's a lot of them, and there's like short stories and stuff, so there's just more folklore to play with. I think it's a good choice.
It also it may then avoid the curse of video game adaptation stuff.
Oh yeah. Yikes.
As for the casting of an ethnic minority as Ciri, who the fuck gives a shit?
I mean, I do, and I think it's awesome. I think it rules.
I mean it in the opposite way. You know, like one of my...
Yeah, I know.
Mary Jane was one of my favorite characters in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
But yeah, first of all, it's not even like they're genetically related. She's like a adopted daughter figure, so she could be a fucking squid for all it matters to the plot.
Right? They're just calling her MJ at the end to let the audience know, oh, she's going to be a love interest to this Spider-Man in the way that Mary Jane Watson was. It's like It's fine.
Yeah,
it's very good. I also I wouldn't care if she was just exactly Mary Jane Watson, but also black. It's fine. Make Superman black too.
Grow up, people.
I don't care.
It's fine. In fact, it should be encouraged.
Yeah, I know it's good. There, I know. People who have bad takes are going to say I'm wrong, and I don't care because they're bad. Anyway, it's fine. Can we go on to the next thing so we can stop talking about this bad video game series?
Yeah. And it's not a bad video game series, Leon. It's one of the most acclaimed video game series of like the last decade. And I understand that you don't like it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it bad.
I'm pretty sure it does.
It's the best written video game series of all time, probably, and I know for Leon that is a stunning indictment and a dagger to the heart of the industry, so take that for what you will, but I do think it's true. Next question. This is a weirdly related one. Davis Fridley asks, it's at Gollywumpus on Twitter, with Henry Cavill reportedly leaving the role of Superman, do you think the DCEU is on its last legs?
No, they're just going to reboot it.
They're either going to reboot the...
They're going to Flashpoint.
Yeah, they're either going to reboot the movie series, meaning another connective movie series, or they're just going to do unrelated movies after they do Ezra Miller's Flash movie, which is like not due for like a couple years, but is going into production next year. So that's basically it. There are two options. I mean, they could just recast, but it also just seems like instead of recasting Superman in that series of Superman movies that people don't like, they'll probably just make a new Superman. With a new actor, and it won't follow the continuity of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and Justice League.
I'm absolutely convinced that they're going to pay Ezra Miller so much money just to do Flashpoint, so that like the entire DCEU can be reset, except for maybe Gal Gadot.
Yeah,
they'll probably
she's immune.
They'll sorry.
She's immune. She escaped the
They'll do something. They'll do something to keep Wonder Woman intact. They better, because right now she is the shining star of the DCEU.
Yeah. It's only a good movie so far.
Yeah,
but that's the only good movie that exists.
But they are. They're gonna pay Ezra Miller hand over fist, because Ezra Miller was one of my actually my favorite part of the Justice League movie. Because I just liked how out of his element he was.
Oh, I hated him, but go ahead.
Oh, you didn't think he was funny?
No, I thought he was the most obnoxious part of a movie that also had a lot of other obnoxious shit in it.
Wow.
I genuinely hated him, like a lot. So yeah, but go ahead with your love, I guess.
No, I'm willing to bet they're gonna pay him hand over fist, like piles of money. To do.
How sad is it that they're already rebooting this shambling fucking disaster garbage fire?
Guess what? They picked the wrong guy to head up the universe. I've been saying this for fucking years. Zack Snyder's a hack. He's bad at what he does.
Yeah, I have a whole gigantic, almost 4-hour long miniseries about. Well, it's not really so much about the DCEU as it is about fan culture. That's just the perfect fan culture to dissect, because unlike a lot of like really intense fan cultures about like movie series and whatnot and comic books and whatnot right now, their fan culture, because they are so intense about it and because the movies are so bad, they're always on the defensive.
Yeah.
And it creates just the worst elements of basically like tribalism.
Like this whole conspiracy about a Snyder cut.
Yeah, it's literally not a thing. I spend a solid portion of part 4 of this miniseries that's coming out this holiday season talking about that and explaining why it's literally not possible.
Everybody thought that at SDCC this year they were going to announce, we're releasing the Snyder Cut, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen because there literally is none. I'm not saying that they're never going to release it. I'm saying that there actually isn't one, and there are reasons why. I just don't want to get into it right now. It has to do with the fact that there's it's related to assembly cuts and misunderstandings.
Let me just make a very simple case of why there's no Snyder Cut. Okay.
Okay. All right, you can.
If they could recoup any money from any footage that they had, and a bunch of rabid fanboys or fan people were like, give us the Snyder Cut! Give us the Snyder Cut! Don't you think they'd just roll out a cheap, digital-only version of the Snyder Cut so that people would be like, I'm gonna buy this and watch it 5 million times? Because that would mean free money. A bunch of footage they already own that was already cut together if it's a Snyder Cut, right? Like, they would do that in a heartbeat. They're not... It's not like they're fucking trying to edge the fans.
Yeah, they're not trying to protect the integrity of Justice League.
No.
Anyway, but yeah, I forget what we were talking about right before that.
Talk about if the DCEU was over because of Superman leaving, and then it got off into a fan.
No, it
thing,
was over a while ago.
Yeah.
Damn. Got him. Fucking shredded.
Yeah. The actual
I
DCEU
prophesized this, just so you guys know.
It's fine. But yeah, they're all the interesting DC projects cannot possibly be in like the DCEU proper right now, like the recast Batman movie coming out. And
did they have a Batman yet?
Sorry?
Do they have a Batman yet?
I don't know if it's 100% yet. There's just I think it's just kind of rumor.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's me. I'm the new Batman.
Yeah, it's true.
It's just an office comedy where he's just working at Wayne Corp.
Just picks up the rotary phone. Batman.
Batman attorney at law.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be Superman. I feel like it's time for a Superman who just looks like Lex Luthor.
You guys are
anyway.
And instead of having a crossover where we fight, we just like go out and have lunch and just talk about movies.
You guys are going to be really disappointed because I'm going to be Green Lantern.
Okay.
And like all I'm going to do is just create like giant green hands to give me hand jobs.
Okay, well that's the end of that conversation.
I thought I was going to be disappointed in you being Green Lantern just because it's a Green Lantern movie. But
no, you're just going to be disappointed.
Okay,
like
that's fine.
I'm telling you guys right now. I'm telling everybody right now. It's going to be a bad movie.
Jade, our doctorate of questions at Jade the Thief on Twitter, asked, "What's your favorite joke from last week that you regret losing?" I mean, it's not great to retell jokes, but is there anything from last week you guys wanted to restate?
No.
It did occur to me that we lost a pretty long conversation on The Handmaid's Tale, which I watched.
Yeah.
And I
that was very funny.
Yeah, it was extremely funny. The terrifying dystopia. But I just wanted to say that while most of my observations are pretty pedestrian, I do think that it's worth saying that the whole premise of the thing, which is that there's like a sterility plague, which makes it hard for people to reproduce, so they start enslaving women, works for creating a plot, but I think obscures the actual misogyny in our world, which is irrational and illogical and just lizard brain idiocy. And I don't think you need to make an excuse to make cishet white dudes bad. Like, they already are bad. They already want the government to assign them girlfriends. They already want to take away minorities' rights and stuff. You don't need a science fiction device to give them an excuse. They're already like that.
Yeah.
And for all the comparisons people make for The Handmaid's Tale to, like, Trump, it's actually a much more Mike Pence view of the world, which is, like, creepy biblical literalism.
It's an old book.
Well, yeah, it's an old book, and it says, like, women should only speak when spoken to and obey their owners, who are their fathers or husbands. Like, it's all there, and you don't need, magic sterility to get those people into power or for them to try to work their evil like they're doing it right now. And in places like America's ally, Saudi Arabia, or in Iran, where we overthrew their democratic government and replaced it with the theocracy that we now hate. So we did that to ourselves, kind of. So that's just kind of something I wanted to put onto the world. I watched the show. It's an incredible work of misery, and I think it does a lot of good stuff, but also that the premise is kind of... It gets a lot of shit for its premise being unrealistic. I think it's perfectly realistic, and it's happening in some places in the world. It's just not extremely helpful that it feels the need to go out of its way to explain why men would behave the way they already do.
Okay.
So not funny, but last week thing.
Yeah. The only thing that I regret losing from the lost episode was my amazing freestyle rap. It was pretty
I've
good.
never beatboxed before, but it just came to me naturally, and I was just like, yeah, me and Leon right now in this moment are doing this art.
It was, I think, as the first-hand audience, I was amazed.
Yeah, I think my observations about Barack Obama were pretty on point.
You slayed his ass.
Yeah, I definitely am not going to do it again. So that was a once in a lifetime thing that's just never going to be resurrected. I really hope people know I'm joking.
Oh, we also talked about Mother, the Darren Aronofsky film, and I loved it.
Yeah.
For all the reasons pretentious people love movies that are 100% allegory, and I understand why audiences would hate it because it's pretentious, and it also part of the message is that audiences suck, which is cool. But I understand the problems people have with it, but I enjoyed it greatly as someone who over-identifies with bad, corrosive artists.
Yeah,
ditto. I don't identify with bad corrosive artists, though. I'm very pure. But I do...
You spend, like, every podcast roasting your commenters.
Yeah.
That's basically what the Jennifer Lawrence wants to do the entire movie. Is call out these goddamn commenters.
Yeah. We should stop, but not for any... Because the episode is bad. This was fine. Just because, I'm hungry and I want to.
Ooh, what are you gonna eat?
Anything you guys want to say right before we go?
It's electric.
Boogie, woogie, woogie. Oh, God.
Yeah,
you would say that.
I'm going to cut that.
It's because of the racial implications. What?
No!